Just because you have an education, don't think you're better than me. Who did you have to date to get that job? Bet you think you're prettier than me because your skin's lighter. Don't think I'm stupid. I know you want my man. You're native? But you're so pretty. You don't look native. Oh, you have kids and live on reserve. Harsh. These things were said to me by other Indigenous and non-Indigenous women. This is called lateral violence. As you can see, I am a woman of mixed ancestry. I walk in two worlds, Indigenous and non-Indigenous. My late mother's from the Squamish Nation, and my late father was of mixed descent. I was a little girl when I began to recognize that people treated me differently. And it was my late grandfather, the respected elder Andy Natrell, who recognized I was beginning to notice this. One day when I was 6 years old, he sat me down on the ground. Him, 3 of my aunties, and my parents surrounded me in a semicircle. He was bestowing Squamish teachings on me. He asked me, "Jessie Ann, what are you going to do when I die?" I began to cry. "Grandpa, I don't want you to die." He shared, "This is the way of life, Jessie Ann. And when I do, it is going to be your responsibility to take your place at the top of the totem pole for our family. You are going to get the white man's education, and you're going to use it to bring our people together, to educate, to help others. And don't you let anybody tell you that you don't belong or that this is not your role." You see, he was giving me medicine. He was planting a seed of wisdom in my little spirit so that I could pull on it, reflect on it, and access it when I needed to for the rest of my life. And I needed that medicine. I struggled my entire life with a sense of belonging, largely due to the woman-to-woman harm that I received. Some non-Indigenous women made me feel like I was less than them. Because of the way they talked to me and the comments they said, I felt like they took pity on me and felt sorry for me, that I was underprivileged for being Indigenous. Some of my First Nations family and friends felt threatened by me, falsely believing that I wanted to take something away from them, that I deserved happiness more than they did, or believed that I thought I was better than them. None of that was my truth. Some of the women that I needed to love and nurture me the most were the most hurtful. Some of my family members used to get really jealous of me spending time with my father. One accused us of having an affair when we wanted to go for ice cream or go roller skating. I was just a little girl. Another yelled at me, "Stop trying so hard to get your dad's attention. Close your legs." I was a baby. I know that the reason this was happening was due to the trauma, the harm, and the abuse that they experienced as First Nations women growing up. And I know that them reflecting that hurt and pain on me, that is called lateral violence at its most brutal. We need to talk about lateral violence more, because moments like that made me dull my light. I remember I was transforming from a young girl into a young woman, and I was vibrant, exuberant. I had a zest for life. I was goofy, silly, I loved music, I loved dance. And I was so excited because I was moving back into my community after being in and out of group homes and foster homes for most of my childhood, in First Nations and non-First Nations homes. And I was moving back to my community. My community. That is my center. I couldn't wait to see my friends again, my neighbors, my cousins. I wanted to play California kickball all night again. I wanted to play Nick and Nicky Nine Door and hide around the corner. I wanted to feel like I belonged and to be embraced. But when I came back, that's not always how I felt. Some of my own friends and some of the older women in the community started spreading rumors and lies and gossip about me, believing that I wanted to steal their boyfriends and their husbands. This hurt my heart. I didn't understand what I did to hurt them or to get that unwanted attention. This made me step back and push away from, rather than leaning in and embracing some of the women I loved and needed the most. We need to talk about woman-to-woman harm more. You see, it's not just non-Indigenous people hurting Indigenous people. It's not just men hurting women. We sometimes harm each other also. Women abuse women. How often do we get real about our part in that? We all spend hours and hours of time talking to our daughters, our nieces, our aunties, our moms, our grandmothers, our sisters, about the way we experience receiving harm. We need to be accountable. We need to stop and do the healing work necessary so that we can be the best versions of ourselves, be whole, and work together to address some real serious challenges we're facing as a human race. Things such as the intergenerational trauma of Indian residential schools, colonialization, racism, sexism, poverty, global pandemics. Let's get real. Let's get deep. Let's consider, reflect, and acknowledge the way we participate in allowing others to hurt each other, or participate in accepting it or inflicting in it. Take a moment. Recenter, resurface, just for a moment, a time that you personally experienced or witnessed woman-to-woman harm. How did you feel? How did you respond? Now, stand in your center. Touch and reach for the medicine that your ancestors, your family and friends have given you. Step into your power. Recall your purpose in life. What are your gifts? What is your wisdom? What is your experience? And ask yourself how you can use this to inspire lateral kindness and love among everyone that you connect with. How do we together create safe and brave spaces where we do not shrink our shine or deny ourselves happiness out of a sense of guilt? A few years ago, I went through what some people might call a breakdown. I define it as a transformation. I define it as an awakening. It's because I wasn't falling apart onto the ground into a bunch of little pieces. I was centering my whole human wellness. I was reflecting upon the times and revisiting trauma that I personally experienced. And I was also revisiting the trauma that I inherited. It's called ancestral trauma. I was imagining for myself what happiness was going to look like for me and how I wanted to spread that to the people I care about. I worked on forgiveness of myself for not always getting it right, forgiveness of my family and friends because I know they were doing their best. And because of this work that I did, being still, reaching into my pocket, in my spirit for my medicine, remembering who I am and who I want to be, I no longer privilege the needs of others before my own. I no longer self-sacrifice because of the fear or judgment of others, the way society socializes women to. I will no longer shrink myself to make others feel better about who they are. I will no longer sit quietly by while we hurt each other. As Melanie Mark, one of our matriarchs, has invited us to do, I am going to open my big mouth. I am going to stand up and use my voice for myself and for those who have not yet found theirs. And you know what? One of the most precious reasons why I can do that is because of my tribe of sisters that I have surrounding me. My soul sisters who love, accept, and push me into the light. They mirror me and remind me of who I am, and they cheer me on. I call them my bum-bums because they are brilliant, they are unique, they are mindful, they are beautiful, they are united matriarchs. And I am here to remind you to choose to surround yourself with balcony friends like I have. Those who cheer and lift you up, not push and pull you down. I am a connector. I lean into the light. And in the spirit of sisterhood, this means I am going to commit to making and creating space where women embrace each other and asemquo, blanket each other in protection. I am calling on each of you to do the into me see soul work, to get real about the way you allow or participate or accept harm, to recenter the teachings, your gifts, and your wisdom, and to consider healing and how you can change the narrative and create spaces for lateral kindness among women. Come join me. Come join me, my daughter and my niece. And all of you watching and all of you here today, stand with us. Join us in a circle of sisterhood of women of all different backgrounds, ages, wisdom, weaknesses, to be connected, to be united, to uplift each other. This is my story. This is my truth. What is yours? Let's matriact. Step into your matriarchal power. Be your most beautiful, be your most brilliant, be your most brave, be yourself. Stand up, my sisters. Let us heal, elevate, and radiate together. Anchet Ayam Slane. We are strong women. Thank you. Thank you.